Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for May 19th. If you all will please, I need to call this meeting to order. And if you all will please stand with me as we recite the pledge and then remain standing for prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Our gracious and almighty Lord, we come before you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. We intercede for these public servants who stand before us this evening, those whom you have ordained to serve in these positions. Lord, we know that public service is not easy. Such service involves pressures, weighty decisions, temptations, and demands that stretch them and their families physically, mentally, and spiritually. Therefore, we ask your presence to be evident in their lives, both in public and in private. When you call a person to serve, you also provide the resources for them to complete the tasks set before them. May each of them recognize their need of you and humbly seek your direction in their daily choices. May they see your hand at work in their daily routine and be thankful for all that you provide for them. May those who need your healing touch remember that you are the great physician. May those who lead do so responsibly and with grace, relying upon your wisdom that is found in your word. May those who serve in support roles do so with thoroughness, attention to detail, faithfulness, and a servant's heart. Lord, we also know that they have been through some turbulent waters in these past several months. May they find the inner peace that comes only from you. May they look to you for the strength to persevere and draw insight from your truth that gives us all understanding for the purpose of life's trials. May each one of us consider and apply the truth that you gave us in James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Consider it nothing but joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you fall into various trials. Be assured that the testing of your faith through experience produces endurance, leading to spiritual maturity and inner peace. And let endurance have its perfect result and do a thorough work so that you may be perfect and completely developed in your faith, lacking nothing. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Commissioners, I know that you have read the changes to the agenda. I do need a motion to approve the agenda with the changes on page 4, please.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. All right, and so we do have a need for the new board to have an organizational meeting this evening, and I'm going to turn this over to our county manager, Sean Newton.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the floor for nominations for the position of chair of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Laura Lindsay for that office.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Kenny Wharton for chair. And I wanted to say, Laura, I appreciate you jumping in and doing your job whenever Chris left us. So I want you to know I appreciate what you've done. I do nominate Kenny as our chair.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'll go ahead and nominate myself as chair.
Okay. Hearing any other nominations? Does it have to have a second for?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Not really, but that's fine. Yeah.
We'll accept it. Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, I'm closing the floor on nominations for the position of office of the chair. We'll begin voting in the order that the nominations were received. So for office of the chair, we'll start with Commissioner Laura Lindsay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 2 ayes. All those opposed?
Here, opposed.
We have 2 yeas and 3 nays. When it comes to the order of Kenny Wortman, Commissioner Kenny Wortman, for position of the chair, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. We have 2 yeas and 3 nays. Finally, when it comes to the position of office of the chair, Commissioner Jeff Jones, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
No.
Okay. Hearing 4 nays, so 1 yea, 4 nays. So we do not have a majority on voting for any of the nominations.
So, this job is very lively. Because there is no one has attained a majority, and the rules are silent as to what to do in this situation, specific situation as to the organization of the board vacancy. At this time, it is my belief that then the vice chair continues to serve as the acting chair until until and unless there is a majority for either making her permanent chair or another board member the chair. So as of now, Commissioner Lindsay will continue in her role as acting chair. And if it is the will of the board at a later date to hold another vote for that, then that can be done. Absent that, the board will have to have an organizational meeting in December by statute, regardless. So that's my opinion at this point.
What authority do you have on that?
Well, I am reading what we really have here is a 2 to 1 vote, right?
Correct.
And so from a parliamentary procedure position, it's a dead tie between, obviously, Commissioner Lindsay and Commissioner Wortman. So at this time, there is no one having attained a majority for that. I am stuck with the status quo is where I am, sir. That's
Right, the status quo would be she remain vice chair until the board brings it up for another vote.
correct, sir. That's what I'm acting chair.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She would not be chair,
is the-
appointed chair. She would continue as vice chair, just acting until the board comes, anybody makes a motion to do another vote.
Yes, so that's what I meant by saying acting chair. Yes, sir. So, yes, to be clear, Commissioner Lindsay is vice chair, acting as chair, until and when the board decides to take further action. Thank you, sir.
All right. Pardon. We do need about 10 minutes for a recess so that we can go downstairs and take new photos. I am assuming that we will also still need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to call for about a 10-minute recess. You guys don't need to go, just hang tight real quick and we'll be right back, okay? So just a 10-minute recess. Thank you. Okay, I am going to bring us back to order. All right, we are going to move to item C for informal public comments, and I'm going to turn it over to Lauren Linker.
First, we have Rich Wise.
Rich Wise, Town of Millland. Thank you for this opportunity to just say a couple words. I am not speaking about anything except the Town of Millland's having a Veteran Memorial Service on Monday, the 26th at 7 p.m. You guys got a flyer up there that I handed out. I'd really appreciate if you guys want to come out. It'd be a great time to get to meet some of the veterans. Also, people, we have a Veteran Memorial going on the 26th, which is a Monday, Memorial Day, at 7 p.m. at Rob Wallace Park. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next is Chris Cranston.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of Cabarrus County, with a head nod to those citizens who have joined our Facebook group, Cabarrus County Citizens Against Tax Hikes and for Government Transparency. I am not certain if things have always been this enthralling in these chambers, but I can't look away since showing up the first time. Kenny says I'm here to play victim, and even went on the radio to tell everyone so. In all sincerity, Kenny, you're the reason I'm here. Your votes brought me here. My more than double tax assessment was why I first came, but once I saw you denying citizens their right to speak, I felt called to return. Once I saw you deceiving the state and spending more than we had, I knew I had to return. Someone needed to represent the lifelong residents that came before me, whose taxes have tripled and quadrupled. Someone has to argue for the generations behind our own. They want to own homes as well, sir. I'm hoping Mr. Jones will be the man to listen to the voices the media refuses to report. Without question, their voices need to be heard by their own representatives. Mr. Jones, welcome to Chambers. I hear it's your first time, and what a splash you just made. There's many of us here who fought hard to secure a majority of grassroots, fiscally conservative Republican representatives. I've seen your quotes, but could not read the only interview I've seen due to it being hidden behind an annoying paywall. The way things you are quoted as saying, like, I don't know if our Republican Party knows who they are anymore, and that you're here to unite the Republican Party and get them back together, or they're going to lose their shirts in the next few elections, leaves one like myself concerned that you don't have the full story. The Facebook page I saw these on did not give context, so I will continue to hope they are less controversial than they look standing alone without that proper context. I do hope you know or learn we just had Cabarrus County's first supermajority vote ever when electing Republican leadership. Workman apparently drove 2 hours to tell everyone our supermajority is a fringe filled with right-wing extremists. In addition to that, we turned out more people to our Republican convention than counties with 4 times our population. Do you already know and understand these things? Who has your ear? Personally, I hope you'll show some humility and be the type of appointment who would align in general with the person you replace, the person the people voted for. If not, we will have 2 seats voting against the people's will, 2 seats doing the opposite of what we voted for. I heard you have said you will not run next year. That leaves us with a single representative, appointed by one man who can flip the entire will of the people. One man who earned 1 vote can erase all of our hard work. Yet we can never hold you to account. The last quote they cited was, has it become such a political thing that it's more about advancing political careers than what's doing right for the people? We all assume that means Meismer accepting the senator's role. Most of us like being a pool for state-level representatives, as every decision affects our county, and who would know and love our county more than its own citizens? I have been and will continue to pray for your discernment, and I'm hopeful you will reflect the people's decisions they made at the voting booth. I guess that's right-wing extremism to some. Thank you, and God bless Cabarrus County, her citizenry, and representatives.
Ingrid Nurse.
Good evening. I'm Ingrid, for the people, by the people, because I am the people. I come before you as a concerned resident who believes that the voices of everyday taxpayers are not being truly heard. While there are claims that this board cares about the needs of the people, many actions or lack thereof suggest otherwise. Furthermore, I recently spoke with members of the homeless population. They shared a basic and urgent request: a safe place to park and sleep, access to mobile showers, and services for their pets. These are not luxuries, they are human needs. It is a kind gesture to care for pets once a month, but what comparable level of care and urgency is being applied to housing insecurity faced by these individuals? What protections are currently in place, and what new initiatives are being considered to address the essential needs of our homeless neighbors? In closing, I ask, how do you plan to reduce the growing deficit and ensure responsible financial management moving forward? Transparency and accountability are not optional. They are essential. Our county is only as strong as our county is only as strong as the way we care for the most vulnerable among us. Thank you. Ingrid Nurse, for the people, by the people, because I am the people. Concerned citizen.
Keisha Sandage.
Good evening. I hope at some point I don't have to come up here and talk with you guys about what you should already know and what you signed up for. Mr. Jones, congratulations on this new appointment. I truly hope that you come up and, break the monotony, which it looks like you're going to do that as of where you started today. I appreciate that. Few things. So I am a taxpayer here, and I have come up here before and let you guys know that my taxes are going up. I hear folks come here every single meeting and talk about tax hikes, but are in agreement with what this county commission has continued to do. I see there's a new position for a executive assistant. I think that's about $56,000. That doesn't sound like my taxes are going down. I hope that we can do something to change the trajectory of this county commission, and I'm looking at you specifically, Mr. Jones, because I think you have the ability to do that. One of the other things, I heard that there was a possibility that the teacher supplements would not be increased. This county commission has traditionally increased the teacher supplements, and I hope that will be the case this year. We have teachers who are in dire need of that supplement. They use that to offset the cost of living in Cabarrus County. There are many of them who cannot afford to live here and that work several jobs to be able to come to school and teach our children. So I hope that we are definitely taking that under advisement. There's been a lot of things that this county commission has done to date that are very concerning, and I don't think it's going to lower our taxes. First off, we have a new manager. Hello, how are you? I hope that you come in here and do everything that is intended for this county and to bring this county and reduce some of the taxes. I also hope that you help our employees stay employed here in our county. I heard also that there's a possibility that our staff are going to lose some of their health coverages, and that our county commissioners' health coverage is paid for by the county. I hope that we are not offsetting our staff benefits to accommodate county commission paid by our tax dollars, and you guys getting insurance and our employees not getting insurance as well. The last thing I will say is, the people elected y'all. This is true. All of you are Republican, and there are not just Republicans in this county. There are Democrats, there are unaffiliates, and there are Republicans. I think you all need to take into consideration that those folks are the people that you work for and not a specific party. I'm going to say that again. Those unaffiliates, those Democrats, and those Republicans, regardless of what side of the fence they on, all y'all work for them. Start doing that. Take into consideration how your decisions affect an entire population of people, which is over 200,000 folks, not just 50. Thank y'all.
Wesley Honeycutt.
Wes Honeycutt, Midland. I've come up here pretty often. Sometimes I prepare remarks, sometimes a little more unprepared, and I just go with what the Lord lays on my heart. I wanted to welcome you, Commissioner Jones, to the party. Hopefully we can sit down sometime. Would love to chat with you some more. As some of the other speakers have said, I do think that there are multiple sides. There's multiple belief systems throughout the county, and I think everyone deserves a voice. You know, Commissioner Wortman and I have sat down. We've had at least a couple phone conversations, a pretty lengthy in-person meeting, and like him, I say that you know, no one tells me what to do. I try to form my own beliefs about stuff, and I try to look into them. I did tell him I find it interesting that he and I come to very different conclusions often on things, but nonetheless, I know he listens to what I say, and I listen to what he says because he's able to repeat some of it back to me. So I would encourage each of you up there to adopt that mindset. Listen to people, even if you think they're nuts and don't know what they're talking about. People want to be heard. I think the biggest thing that's kept me coming back is I've seen people not be heard. A lot of people don't have the courage to get up here and stand at this mic. It's intimidating. I talk in front of people often. I've been in front of this mic often, and it's still intimidating. But a lot of people are never going to make it up here. But they rely on other people to be their voice. That's you as their representatives. At times it's me. I try to be a voice for people that message me and whatnot and come up here. So I would encourage you to listen to these alternate beliefs. You know, the first night I came to the chambers right after the revow, you know, this place was full of people who were dismayed, were wondering what they were going to do about their taxes, were upset, were burdened. And that very night, a tax incentive was given out to a campaign donor, to the prior chairman, Steve Morris. A donor that contributed to him got a tax incentive to build real estate that he was going to rent out. There was no promise of jobs. It looked like a political favor. Now, I will tell you, to your average Joe Schmo who's lived in the county their entire lives, who's watched their taxes go up 3 times, 4 times in less than a decade, I mean, that feels like a slap in the face. I looked at the posting that the tax office put up recently. There's almost $5 million in delinquent taxes right now. And many of those, I looked at some of the individual ones, and they are that situation that I described. Someone that was paying $400 a year in taxes in 2016 is expected to pay $1,500 a year in taxes. Now, to some in the room, that's an inconsequential amount of money. To some people, that's everything. So my encouragement to you all, especially you, Commissioner Jones, as the new guy, hear folks out. Hear them out. Thanks all.
We will move on to E. No, we will move on to, yes, to E. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries unanimously. All right, and we are going to move on to F, appointments to boards and committees. We didn't really have the opportunity to discuss this at the last meeting. However, we do have several appointments that need to be done for Early Childhood Task Force, and we do need to do a removal as well, and then also for the Senior Centers Advisory. Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding these? So we do have new applicants that have applied into some of these positions. I have gone through all of the applications and have a list of folks that have applied that were interested in the Early Childhood Task Force. So I'm happy to just start with the first. And then, is that okay, Lauren? Okay. Is there something that is improper with?
Approval at the work session, so at what point do we have the cutoff line? So, but that's logistical. We
Okay.
can talk about it later.
Okay. So the first seat, number 5, that is on here for approval. I need a motion to fill seat number 5. I have Jennifer Threadgill. So I'll make a motion, or so, okay. Which one are you looking at? Okay, so I think that's something that we do need to discuss, is those that were previously on there that have served out 2 consecutive terms. From what I understand, some of the folks that were on there have already served out 2 consecutive 3-year terms. And so one of the discussions that I wanted to have at the last meeting was, is there a consensus of that we would like to, at some point, see new folks added on to the boards if they've already served 2 consecutive 3-year terms?
Sounds reasonable to me.
I agree, except on the ones where there's certain requirements that they have to have a certain degree or a certain, but something like this.
So, from my understanding, the clerk is, if they're not able to serve in those particular roles, then you would be able to let us know prior to the vote, right? That they would not be eligible because of particular.
Yes, so the packet that I sent you all ahead of the work session laid all of that out. So if there was, these 2 boards in particular are at-large positions, so that is irrelevant. But if there's a position that is jurisdictional or something like that, then yes, I worked with the liaisons, with the staff that works with those boards, so that they could tell me what makes sense under their bylaws for what applicants are qualified for each position. And so that was kind of our plan moving forward, and that was a little bit of my hesitation to any new applicants that we had not vetted that way, was why I was a little concerned about that. But I'm sure we can do that before the next time, too.
Now, are we saying that we're going to exempt them, even if they had 2 prior years, they're not eligible, we're going to allow them anyway?
Well, no, that was what I wanted to figure out with the pleasure of the board is, normally we have things set in place so that after you have served a certain period of time, you would then allow for others who had applied for those positions to be able to serve in those particular roles. We do have, and thankfully so, a lot of citizens that have served in certain positions for quite some time. And one of the things that I was concerned about was making sure that we give opportunity for others to serve in those roles. And at what point do we draw that line? I do know some have that guideline already put into their procedures.
So actually,
do you know who has it in their bylaws already?
Well, I would say the board's appointment policy establishes a 2-term as well. Right. So that's why the language there said, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy. That's the board's appointment policy as well. Okay. So it depends on who the person is, if they've served for 3 terms or whatever, and that would really depend on what you all decide at the work session to how we need to move forward at the regular meeting kind of conversations.
And it's very important that we do have a rotating to bring new people in.
And I will say there is a good batch, especially for these, that as you all can see, and you will be able to see in the future for sure. But there are a few positions that are lacking. And so those are positions that I will say some of the boards, it is the same person for 4 terms, 5 terms. And my understanding from those board liaisons is that we don't have applicants that qualify. So as we start this process down the road, we will definitely be able to shine a light on those particular seats. And hopefully you guys can get out there and spread the word. I go to every public event that the board holds to try and get involvement. So if you were at one of our Gov 101s, you saw that as well. So hopefully those positions can have more applicants to fill that too.
So just to shed a little bit of light on this, and when I was going through all of the applications, and this is just in specific right now to the early childhood, since we have 3 of those. from my understanding, Jennifer Threadgill is the only one who has not served 2 consecutive 3-year terms. So again, my thought process was that we should allow her the opportunity to continue on for another term. And then I have a list of 2 candidates that I looked through their resumes. However, if you guys have different folks after looking through their applications, I'm happy to take those into consideration. I will just give you the names of the 2 that I have so that it will help you. I have Annalee Taylor, who is a current teacher, and then I also have Will Marie Austin, who was recommended by Ann Benfield, who I understand is the one who chairs that early childhood task force or committee. And so those were the 2 that I had chosen. However, happy to take recommendations from either of y'all that have any other considerations that you would like to recommend.
Well, as for me, for whatever it's worth, I'm just tickled that somebody's willing to take on this task. It's hard to get people to step up and volunteer. It's all on a volunteer basis and it's time consuming. So I'm just glad that we got applicants, and it's up to us to get the positions filled. And so I think they stay unfilled because we don't fill them. We need to start filling those seats.
I was contacted by Krishani Patel, who owns the Kitty Academy in Harrisburg. She was interested. I know she submitted an application, but from what Lauren was saying, it didn't meet the deadline before. I think it was submitted this last weekend, I think. So I don't know. If we want to do a cutoff, then that would have to wait till the next time. But she deals directly in child care. So that's, I wouldn't be opposed to her either. So.
And I will just say, I did use the work session date as the cutoff. So if we hadn't received it by the time that we put that list in the packet to send to, or to present to the board on the work session date, it was not, if it was after that, it was not included. So that I was trying to find a deadline, to, to be able to give you the most information and time frame to look through those.
Does anyone have anything else to add to that? Okay, well, so I'm gathering from the consensus of everybody that you guys are okay with the 3 names that I've suggested. So I'm just going to go through these one at a time, and we'll vote on those. Okay. So I would need a motion to appoint Jennifer Threadgill to fill seat number 5 on the Early Childhood Task Force Advisory Board term expiring February 28, 2029, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any opposed? Okay, that,
Want to have a discussion first.
okay.
Yeah, discussion, then put it to the.
Okay, do we, any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries unanimously. We will move down to the next one for seat number 6. I will take a motion to appoint Annalee Taylor to fill seat number 6 on the Early Childhood Task Force Advisory Board, term expiring February 28, 2029, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries as well. And then we will move on to a motion. I will need a motion to appoint Will Marie Austin to fill the seat number 16 on the Early Childhood Task Force Advisory Board, term expiring February 28, 2029, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much, and we will move on to Boards and committees removal of the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee. It looks like we need to vote on the process removal of Valerie Miller from the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee due to failure to meet attendance requirements. I will take a motion to remove Valerie Miller from the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second? Second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That motion carries unanimously.
I will just say that is one of those that the state, they have to do education with. The state requires certain things for them, so that's, we receive that word from the state coordinating that education and attendance, so just FYI.
Thank you for clarifying. We appreciate it. All right, so moving on, we do have 6 positions that we need to fill on the Senior Center Advisory Committee, and again, per discussion regarding the early childhood, the only one that I see that has not served out a 3-year consecutive term is Ronnie Tucker. Do you guys have any thoughts on folks specifically after looking through their applications regarding those as well? I do also have a list, however, happy to entertain anyone else's recommendations. I can tell you, just to make this a little easier for everyone, I'm happy to share my recommendation, and then you guys can decide how you want to proceed. But I have Ronnie Tucker, Del Udy, Christine Barrier, Teresa Small, Steve Ayers, and Krista Fox. Do we have any discussion on those?
Losing,
Were there other applicants for it?
Yes, sir.
well, I hate losing Myra Bumgardner. She is a powerhouse in that area. I know she's served for quite some time, but she's been up here speaking multiple times, very knowledgeable, very involved. Her leadership is amazing there. I would hate to, now I know she's over the limit, but it seems like she was made for that position. I mean, she's a powerhouse there. I would like to keep Myra if we can.
That said, is there availability to make an exception in her case or not?
According
Well,
to your,
there's,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you're fine.
I was just going to say, according to your appointment policy, yes, that's why that language is in there. You have done it because she has been over the 2-term limit for a while at this point. So there is that. That's what I was going to say a moment ago is, and you also have, in this one in particular, you do have some recommendations. Just because they were sent to us, we provided that, went ahead and provided that information to you on your cover sheet as well.
So I do think, and I'm certainly happy to hear other discussion as well. However, there seemed to be quite a few people that were interested in being on this senior advisory committee, and I do think that it is important to give other folks in the community the opportunity to serve where they see potential in something that they are interested in as well. I am certainly grateful for Myra's service to our community, and certainly open to whatever the board decides. But I do think that more than 2 year, do we know how long she served specifically? A long time? Yeah.
I just look at it as there's 1, 2, 3, we're going to do 6 of these tonight. She is somebody, if we kept on, that could kind of take the other 5 under her wing and share that knowledge before she leaves at the next go-round. And that way, at least some of that knowledge is there, some of that history. And then by all means, after that, then it's probably time to move. But that's my thinking on that, is to allow her to help these 5 new ones and get them where they need to be.
Okay. Larry?
So we're sort of caught between, she's been there so long, and we need to get other people in there, but she's got experience to help the others. This is a tough decision.
Well, this is not a complete turnover of that advisory council either. So even though if we were to do this, then they are certainly not going to be there alone, understanding how the process would go. Ronnie Tucker, like I said, he is a current person who has served only one term at this point. But if it is the pleasure of the board, I'm certainly happy to do whatever you guys think is in the best interest of the committee. And Kenny, I respect, your opinion on this. So as we go through these, we can, if you would like to make the motion as I go through to ask, we can do it however you would like to.
It's whatever this board wants. I understand getting new faces in there, and if that's what we want to do, that's fine. It's not gonna overturn it. Also, keep in mind, I'm the liaison to active living and parks, so I see how much she's involved, so that's why I'm obviously here advocating for her. I know her pretty well and what she does with all of this. But if the board wants to replace them, that's fine. I've said my piece, and if we want new faces, I'm okay with that. So it's whatever you guys.
Do you have any thoughts, Commissioner Jones?
We vote on her first, and then we decide whether we're going to replace her or not, and go to the others.
Okay. Any thoughts from you, Commissioner Shue? You good with that?
I'm Kenny. Myra's been doing it a long time, and she's very knowledgeable. I hate to lose that knowledge, but I'm okay with new faces.
Okay. Well, then I will start with the first one. I'll make a motion to appoint Myra Baumgartner to fill seat number 4 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2027, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
Second.
I need a second. You get the motion?
Oh, I thought you made
Second?
the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will continue with Myra Baumgartner.
As you move forward, it may be beneficial in your packet. This is the current list. It's on page 136. That's the current list of board members. And then on the 137, the highlighted ones are current members. And then all the others are the extra applicants that we have for this board. So I tried to make it clear.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Clear as
you.
mud.
Clear as mud, yes, ma'am. All right. So then I will move to, let's make sure we get Ronnie Tucker's on the right one. All right, I'll make a motion to appoint Ronnie Tucker to fill seat number 6 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2027, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Okay. And then I would make a motion, or I would need a motion. I think my language on that has been off, thus confusing you, so I apologize. I would need a motion to appoint Del Udi to fill seat number 5 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2027, and to include any necessary exceptions to the appointment policy.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please. Oh, any discussion? Seat 4? Okay. Whatever's easier for you. Okay. So that's seat number 4. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Okay, are we good?
Madam Chair, will
Yes.
you please do the Myra Baumgartner and seat 5 motion again, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint, I need a motion to appoint Myra Baumgartner to fill seat number 5 on the Senior Center Advisory Council. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Good? All right. You're welcome. All right, here we go to number 7, clarifying. Yes, okay. I would need a motion to appoint Christine Barrier to fill seat number 7 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2027.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries as well. Okay, and then I will also need a motion to appoint Teresa Small to fill seat number 10 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Last one. I need a motion to appoint Steve Ayers to fill seat number 11 on the Senior Center Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries as well. Thank you, guys. We got through that. Man, okay. Let's move on to, one of my favorite people is here too about this as well, but this is, we're going to have a resolution in support of the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame. And Commissioner Wortman, if you will read this, please.
Coach Smith, if you'd like to come up to the podium, if that's okay with the board, we'll go ahead and present this to you.
As Commissioner Wortman's coming, I'd like to introduce Jimmy Alton, our treasurer, Harry Mills, our secretary, Haley Lyerly, our administrative assistant, Brian Tyson, County AD, he is our vice chair, and he is at a state playoff representing Cabarrus County Schools today.
Let me get over here real quick. You and former Commissioner Tim Furr came a couple months ago.
March 19th.
And presented this, and I know when we talked on the phone, you wanted something official and to make it look fancy, so we did the best we could.
It's perfect.
All 5 of us have signed it, so you wanted all 5 signatures. But this says a resolution of support for the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame to be hosted in the Cabarrus Arena and Events Center. Whereas it is the intention of the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners to honor and pay tribute to those individuals whose commitment to promoting the richness and diversity of sports programs in Cabarrus County, and the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame memorializes such actions through recognition of notable Cabarrus County athletes' excellence and achievements, and whereas athletes devoted to improving the quality, the athletic competition in all sports are deserving of praise and recognition and have contributed to the strength, vitality, and economic enrichment of Cabarrus County. And whereas athletics provide the building blocks of cooperation and teamwork, they are central to American culture. They enlighten us and inspire the imagination while providing variety to educational institutions, individuals, and organizations that further such exciting purposes merit the recognition and appreciation of the Board of Commissioners and the people of the Cabarrus County. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners are in full support of the county's longstanding athletic traditions and excellence. The Board of Commissioners are proud to support hosting the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame at the Cabarrus Arena and Events Expo. And be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners do hereby agree to provide a home to the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame at the Cabarrus County Arena and Events Center, adopted this day, the 19th day of May, 2025. And on behalf of all of us, if you guys would like to speak, but thank you very much, and we look forward to it.
I won't take but a moment, I promise. I won't take y'all can put the timer on me. I promise it won't be 3 minutes. On behalf of the Cabarrus County Sports Hall of Fame, our officers, our committee members, I would like to thank you for this. I came 2 months ago with a presentation for your support for the arena, and you came through 8 weeks later. I cannot tell you, this proclamation epitomizes everything we try to stand for, which is to strive to recognize outstanding student athletes, teams, coaches, and contributors throughout Cabarrus County, and carry that legacy on. As we move forward, we're going to have an elite exhibit. I invited Ms. Sifford, I invited Richard Stansel and Jonathan Weaver to come the day we were looking at it. They were very impressed with Miss Mandy Herlocker from Pro Decals that was looking at our exhibit and what we're thinking about. Kenny Robinson, is Kenny still in the back? Should have brought Kenny up here. This was Kenny's idea from the beginning. Once we got the Cabarrus room for our ceremony, Kenny said, Coach, you and Brian come over here. I got an idea I want you to look at. It was you, the commissioners, that agreed to allow us to use this room. Our goal by December 6th is to have 93 inductees and 6 state championship teams on that wall for that night of the ceremony. That's our goal and our objective. Thanks to you, this dream has come true tonight. I can't thank you enough for what you did, for your vote of confidence. Thank you, Mr. Pittman, Mr. Workman, Ms. Lindsay, Mr. Jones, Mr. Shue. Love y'all. I appreciate your support of me when I was coaching. Now more important as the Hall of Fame chairman. God bless you.
Coach,
thank you very much.
Before you step down, we have to make it official and vote on it.
We got to vote now.
We do.
I vote yes.
All right, commissioners, I will take a motion to approve this resolution as presented.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your presentation and all your
Last
hard
thing I'll
work.
tell you, I'll send you a thank you note tomorrow. As the former commissioners, or all the present commissioners, you need to look in your junk mail. Sometimes they go to junk mail when they come from me. So y'all check the junk mail. I'll have you a note. Love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Easy. Man, it's hard to follow that. Okay, so we will move on to, can you make this as exciting?
I don't think so.
Oh, my
Thank you
goodness.
for setting me up on that one.
Absolutely. I'm sorry about that. So we will move on to County Manager's Sean Newton's presentation of the FY26 recommended budget.
I am very excited for my first budget presentation to this board. I'm not sure I can make it that active or that entertaining, but I'll do my best. And before I read my budget message to all of you, I'd just like to thank Vice Chair Lindsay, Commissioner Shue, Commissioner Wortman, and Commissioner Pittman for all of your input throughout this year. Commissioner Jones, I appreciate you taking the time to walk through this budget with us on Friday and hear the process that we worked through to get to this point. Obviously, most importantly as well, staff, right? So this board has changed makeup through election and appointment a few times this fiscal year. And so staff has worked really hard before I joined as well as after I joined to work through this budget and try and make sure we accounted for all the needed priorities mentioned by board members here. And so my request as you review the budget book we've presented today would just be between now and our June 16th meeting to approve this, that we just continue to improve that partnership and continue to have that strong two-way communication we've had on any priorities that you have and things that you see that need to be adjusted to make sure that we can get this approved with all of y'all in favor of it. So without further ado, I will read my budget message to the board, which can be found in our budget book, and we will have that available online for all of the public immediately following this meeting. Honorable members of the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners, it is my distinct pleasure to submit the fiscal year 2025-2026, or FY26, recommended budget and the FY26 capital improvements plan for Cabarrus County. Completing the recommended budget for FY26 is no small task on its own. This year, challenges were compounded by the onboarding of a new county manager who joined the team a few months prior to budget deadlines and a request cycle saddled with a $6 million deficit. I am proud to say that staff rallied around strong financial stewardship and budgetary principles. They partnered to create a strong recommended budget that removed the projected deficit and found ways to invest above planned spending in key areas such as education. This budget is built on discipline, data, and dedication to the people of Cabarrus County. Departments across the county are rising to the challenge of absorbing growth demands and modernizing services while thoughtfully reducing spending in non-critical areas. The recommended budget continues a flat tax rate of 57.6 cents per $100 of assessed value, which maintains last year's adopted rate. This rate allows the county to sustain and invest in existing services with a priority emphasis on public safety and education. Education continues to see large growth requests for budget increases from the school systems, with another year of double-digit growth in operating cost. This year's budget also continues to fund a healthy community investment fund capable of supporting the debt associated with past board decisions, such as the remodel and construction of our new county buildings at Progress Place, which is the former ACM building, and the Stephen M. Morris Behavioral Health Center, which is under construction, while still supporting needed investment in new capital improvement projects. While I am confident that this tax rate can continue to support county operations in our 5-year outlook, external impacts such as inflationary and recessionary factors, increased cost of living in the area, and recurrently large year-over-year growth in education spending will continue to require forward-thinking and strong budgetary practices to account for increased expense needs. The recommended general fund budget totals $399 million, which is a 5% increase over last year's adopted budget. Across all funds, including those supported by user fees, the FY26 budget totals $548 million. The budget also supports continued capital improvements in the Community Investment Fund. When regards to stewardship and intentional budgeting practices, as staff created this proposed budget, we faced a need to address a projected deficit of just under $6 million for FY26. Since the retreat in February, we closed that gap with 2 primary strategies: challenging each department to use strong financial stewardship of taxpayer dollars to create a budget that fully supports services while reducing spending on activities with no direct impact on services, such as travel to organizational conferences. And point 2, employing intentional budgeting practices to accurately align the proposed budget with the reality of historical spending. The proposals of the past several years have consistently created between $20 and $40 million in surplus funds. Our approach this year involved evaluating actual spending levels and adjusting proposed budget numbers that reflect reality while remaining conservative. For sustaining county operations, our budget is designed to support the essential operations of the county, including public safety, health, and human services and infrastructure. We have made significant investments in our workforce in recent years, ensuring that employees are well equipped to serve the community effectively. Except for 24 job reclassifications to better align with job duties and support growth, our workforce size is budgeted to stay level for FY26. Our dedicated employees continue to be one of the county's greatest assets, ensuring stability and excellence in services delivered to residents. As such, this year's recommended budget contains funding to maintain existing benefits and traditional cost of living and merit increases for eligible employees. We have been very fortunate to see relatively low turnover over the past year. Continued investment in the employee workforce should maintain that low turnover. In addition to investing in our workforce, the FY26 budget provides ongoing funding to support quality services and investments that continue to produce results. There are many great examples of the amazing work employees are doing throughout the budget book, but here are just a few highlights. Accomplishments below represent data for the first half of FY25, which is July 2024 to December 2024. During that time, we have responded to approximately 20,000 calls with an average response time of under 7.5 minutes, which is down 12 seconds from the first half of FY24 for emergency medical services. We've also assisted veterans in receiving more than $7.6 million of earned benefits, which is a 58% increase compared to the first half of FY24 for veteran services. We have been seizing narcotics with a street value of $5.2 million in the sheriff's office. We're helping connect inmates with services needed while in jail and when they re-enter the community through a partnership between the Sheriff's Office and Cabarrus Health Alliance. We have issued over 8,000 construction-related permits for construction standards, and we're redirecting over 120,000 pounds of household hazardous waste and over 55 tons of electronic screens, removing those from the landfills through the environmental management. When it comes to meeting the increasing cost of education, investing in our local schools and supporting the education of our children is important for a community to thrive. Providing local investment in education comes in two regular forms: funding of operating budgets to support annual reoccurring expenses, and funding of capital needs to address one-time irregular costs, such as building maintenance and new construction. The county has consistently supported dramatic growth in both categories this decade, and this year's proposed budget provides continued support above and beyond state mandated levels as outlined below. From the operating budget side, historically, staff has planned for a 4.5% increase for our education budget as a whole. However, operational budget requests for public school systems, which is Cabarrus County Schools as well as Kannapolis City Schools, and then Rowe and Cabarrus Community College, have consistently been over that planned 4.5% growth. Additionally, equitable funding requires that our two public school systems' funding grows equally based on average daily membership, which ensures that both schools get the same per-student funding percentage increase, even if one system does not request that large of an increase. This year's funding request from the schools involved a requested increase of 12.69% from Cabarrus County Schools and a 9.75% increase from Kannapolis City Schools. After reductions on county operational spending were complete, as discussed above, staff was able to support a 10% increase to support the school systems above and beyond the planned 4.5% increase. For the past several years, operational funding for public schools has been growing at approximately 10% per year, with the exception of FY23, with total school system funding growing 41% since FY21. By contrast, property and sales tax revenue have grown 30% since FY21 and continue to be outpaced by the demands created for more allocation in the education space. The total student enrollment across CCS and KCS has increased approximately 5% over the same time period. In your book, you'll find a table that outlines the regular instruction, building maintenance, ground maintenance, and technology line items growth over that same time period too. RCCC, the Rowe and Cabarrus Community College, continues to be the only public higher education institute in Cabarrus County. Its operating budget growth is about 6% annually, which equates to 34% increase since FY21, and has seen a 20% increase of students, with over 22,000 annually enrolled currently. From the capital investment side of things, in addition to operational expenses, capital investments for schools continue to be a priority for county budget planning. This year's recommended capital investment across schools totals $29,050,000 and represents over 82% of the county's total recommended capital investment for FY26. The list of projects below accounts for prioritized deferred maintenance for each organization, along with technology upgrades. Additionally, this year's proposed budget provides design funding for KCS school additions, the Rowe and Cabarrus Community College S201 renovations, and design for the future construction of the Rowe and Cabarrus Community College Workforce Innovation Center. There is a large list of new building requests across all three school organizations, and staff expects to prepare a debt package in FY26 that, if approved, will create funding beginning in FY27 to address prioritized needs. Discussions will begin in the coming months to identify the targeted projects to incorporate within this future debt package. I have a table that outlines from the Cabarrus County School side, we have deferred maintenance that we are proposing of $10,117,624, investment in a paging and intercom system of $800,000, replacing outdated TVs and smart boards, as well as student Chromebooks for $3,144,617, and then security cameras in the amount of $850,000. For Kannapolis City Schools, an activity bus for $100,000, deferred maintenance of $1.9 million, system capital for energy savings of $196,000, and technology capital support and upgrade of $833,868. And then we have our design funding for the A.L. Brown addition, which is $1.9 million, and the Jackson Park Elementary School addition design, which is $1,040,000. From the Rowe and Cabarrus Community College side of things, we have deferred maintenance of $400,000, parking lots at South Campus/CBTC of $500,000, South Campus elevators of $350,000, and then our design for the S201 building of $900,000 and Workforce Innovation Center design of $5,922,000, totaling $29,050,000. Adoption of the capital project ordinance to include both county and education-related projects is planned for the June 16th regular meeting. Continuing to support county capital needs on that side of the road, the county has invested a large amount of capital through both capital investment and debt obligations in recent years. This funding established several new buildings, such as the recently opened Afton Ridge Library and Active Living Center, as well as the acquisition and remodel of the ACM building, now called Progress Place, and the current construction of the Stephen M. Morris Behavioral Health Center. These investments, along with the aforementioned education-related investments, require thoughtful, conservative, and intentional county-level capital improvement planning over the next several years to ensure base needs are met while accounting for past obligation commitments. For FY26, 13 county-level projects will be funded, including key maintenance and design work for future renovations at Camp TN Spencer and the Concord branch of the Public Library System. Additionally, funds will be allocated for the design of the new Cabarrus County Animal Shelter, which is targeted for construction in FY27. The list for county capital improvements includes an ADA transition plan of $150,000, our design for remodel of Camp TN Spencer Park with multiple buildings, $550,000, our design for the Concord Library exterior renovations of $80,000, our design for the Concord Library interior renovations of $350,000, governmental center generator replacements of $600,000, Human Services Center HVAC replacements of $200,000, multi-building exterior envelope repairs of $400,000, Phase 5 landfill expansion, $600,000, prime farmland soil and water conservation easement, $170,000, our Sheriff's Department's animal shelter design for the new animal shelter, $2 million, our Sheriff's Office 7th floor renovation, $150,000, and then Vietnam Veterans Park boardwalk replacement of $900,000, totaling $6,150,000. As stated before, adoption of the capital projects ordinance to include both county and education-related projects is planned for the June 16th regular meeting. From a 5-year outlook standpoint, the annual budget process establishes decisions for this fiscal year, but it is important to keep in mind that each set of annual decisions also impacts the future for years to come. As part of the annual budget process, staff develops a 5-year plan that illustrates how revenues and expenditures are expected to change. Past 5-year plans have incorporated forecasts for education partners of 4.5% growth and the cost of county staffing at 6% growth, while smaller increases are projected for general operating expenses of 3% and the Cabarrus Health Alliance of 4%, which have been used for the FY26 5-year plan as well. Expense growth has consistently outpaced staff's previous estimates, which has continued to create pressure on revenue to also beat projections and requires an emphasis on reducing non-critical spending to maintain tax rates. Our current 5-year plan projects for an increasing deficit in each of the upcoming years. Given the current outlook and recent expense growth, staff will undergo an overhaul of spending analysis in FY26, working to generate partnerships across the county to appropriately plan for expected expense increases and ensure continued investment in services to support residents. For acknowledgements, in closing, thank you to all the team members who show up day in and day out to make Cabarrus County an amazing place for America to thrive. A special thank you to all the employees, department leadership, and budget team who provided input in countless hours to create the FY26 proposed budget. We truly could not have created a budget this well positioned without all of you. I would also like to thank the Board of Commissioners for their continued dedication and leadership to Cabarrus County. Your selfless service to the county provides a strong foundation of decision-making to ensure the right investments are made to support staff and the residents of Cabarrus County. We look forward to your thoughtful consideration of the recommended budget and input from residents and businesses before the budget adoption on June 16th. Respectfully submitted, Sean Newton.
Well, I do thank you. I look forward to looking through all of this in the next few weeks. I will start down the line. Commissioner Pittman, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, I don't know if maybe this should wait till another time, but you asked, so I'm going to say it. I was elected over what other reasons there might have been, to reduce this county budget and to reduce property tax rates. And I'm going to continue to work towards that. I may not be able to get it, I'm just one person. But I have suggested that we need to try to go to revenue neutral, and that would be around 50.5 cents or so. And I've been told we can't do that, and I understand that may not be doable. But I'm still trying to get it reduced. It's 57.6 cents per hundred right now after a ridiculous revaluation that shot a lot of people's home values, property values way too high. And that includes mine, but not just for me, because a lot of people in worse shape than I am. It never should have gone that high. My increase was from about $1,984 a year to over $2,700 a year for my taxes. And so, I mean, it went from 165 something value to 276,710. That's ridiculous. And so that's why I got elected, is to try to change that stuff. And I'm working at it as hard as I can. I may not be able to get there for you, but I'm going to try. I think if we can't cut at least 2 cents off of that rate, something wrong. And so, you know, there's things I've asked to be cut out of the budget. I'm going to go through here and see what, if anything's been done about that. And we may have to have some tough discussions going forward. But I'm not ready to accept continuing 57.6 cents. And I want your property taxes cut just like I want mine cut. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to look through this and see what we can do. As I say, I may not be able to accomplish it, but I am going to try. I told you that before I was elected, and I haven't changed my mind about a thing. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Pittman. Commissioner Wortman?
We set it at 57.6 last year based off of the county manager's recommended 60 cents. If we were to go from 57.6 to revenue neutral, that would have been approximately another $12 to $16 million deficit. So we were able to shrink that this year, and I wanted everybody to know what exactly was cut to keep our tax rate the same. So the Sheriff's Office had a reduction of $545,930 from their operating budget. From the Sheriff's Office line item, it was $335,600. That included vehicle maintenance, fuel, training, and travel. The detention center line item was $49,000. That included maintenance, cleaning supplies, and inmate supplies, which included mattresses and clothing. The animal control line item was $18,500. That included vehicle maintenance, fuel, and veterinarian services for injured animals. And the animal shelter line item was $3,000. It just had very small cuts from there. 2 patrol cars were also cut out to make up the remaining $139,830. That included 2 cars, vehicle equipment, and installation of the supplies for the new vehicle. At the end of the day, we're still going to need those 2 cars next year. We're still going to need them the year after that, and the year after that, and we're just kicking the can down the road. EMS had a reduction in $585,000 from their operating budget, and the remaining $395,000 will come from increased collections next year. They asked for 4 ambulances, 2 Type 1s and 2 Type 3s. They had to cut 2 of those ambulances. It takes 18 to 24 months from the time of ordering an ambulance to placing it in service. Right now, what we try to do is all of our ambulances are currently able to have the box remounted to help save cost on that. And all of the ones that are currently able to do that, that has already been done. That's why they were looking at getting new ones, because the more you mount them, the more stress fractures and everything else you have that go on with that. It becomes a safety issue. Again, those are 2 ambulances that we're going to need next year. Still going to need them. We're still going to have to order them at one time. Active Living and Parks had a reduction of roughly $50,000. They cut the matching grant incentive because it's a $50,000 net expense. So we cut a program that we get free money from, even though we have to match it. If they did, they also had to cut the prescribed live burn for St. Stephen's Church Park. If they don't have the money to properly do it, then invasive species will grow back. The reason they cut those 2 things was because if not, they were going to have to cut replacement picnic tables, replacement dog waste receptacles and grills, and infrastructure replacement. The libraries had a reduction of $50,000. That included the program and office supplies, minor office equipment, and travel and education. Travel and education is one that a lot of departments had to cut. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but that is one of the benefits that we offer to our employees to help compete with the private sector. We help pay for those certifications so that we have the best people employed. By the libraries with their $50,000, that leads to a reduction in providing programs and reading programs. And to give you an example, the Concord Library, 20% of their programming budget is copy paper alone. We have to provide that because the citizens use it, so they can't help an increase in the cost for those supplies, but they still must provide it. Infrastructure and asset management, they reduced grounds maintenance by $100,000. That means less asphalt maintenance and repair to county parking lots and drives, tree and debris cleanup after inclement weather, playground maintenance and repair, trail and ground repairs from washouts from heavy rain events, reduced cleanup of county lots during with snow and ice, and cancellation of ball field maintenance with active living in parks. They also reduced the building maintenance for all county buildings except the courthouse, arena, jail, and sheriff's department by $85,000. That means cancellation or deferment of HVAC and electrical projects, and we already see how deferment of building maintenance has worked out for the schools so far. Roofing repairs may need to be deferred, carpet and painting projects, cancellation and deferment of department requested projects, and also a lack of funding for specialty contractors that are required that can't be done by our employees. They also had to reduce the building maintenance for the jail and the sheriff's office by $100,000. That's deferment of special cleaning of the ductwork for the HVAC systems, deferment of replacement kitchen equipment, and cancellation of renovations or requested maintenance projects by the sheriff's office. Human resources, majority of their budget is personnel and benefits, but they did cut the consultant money for the market studies, and we fell behind previously for doing that. Communications had to cut some from the contracted employees and advertising, not anything big. Finance, again, is mostly personnel. He can't cut the audit, so they had to cut travel and training. Construction standards didn't have to cut because we approved their fee raise to offset the cost. Planning and zoning didn't even have 5% to cut from their operating budget, so they took out uniforms, reduced travel and training, and gave up money for the utility meeting, and gave up money for printing and binding flood binders. So I thought it was interesting for planning and zoning that when you take out the personnel cost, the true operating budget for zoning is $16,359. For planning is $14,300, and for community development it's $10,220. So Susie Morris is already operating on a shoestring budget in that department. Didn't have anything to cut. DSS had about $393,000 from various departments. The tax office, the tax collector had a $1,000 decrease in legal services, and the tax assessor $1,000 from logo attire, $1,000 from appraisal tools and equipment, and $3,000 in travel and education. And the Board of Elections cut $5,000 for printing of precinct official handbooks, and their budget varies depending on the election cycle. This budget has 3 elections: the municipal in November, the primary in March, and a second primary. I didn't realize they have to budget for a second primary, just in case. And all those cuts were just so that we could keep the tax rate flat. So, it's the will of this board, but we don't get to hear often what was cut. We hear wasteful spending, wasteful spending. We also hear the government should be only funding EMS and law enforcement, but we're cutting $1 million from EMS and almost $600,000 from the sheriff's office. So that's all I had to say. I mean, we'll pass whatever we pass, but that's, I called each department individually and got this from them, so everybody's able to reach out to them if you want and get that list and see where we can go from there. I know that the 1% teacher supplement is $2.3 million. That's not in the budget. It's at 13%. Since 2014, we've raised that every year. I don't know if it was the school. When I met with Dr. Kopicki and Phil Penn, they said it wasn't budgeted, so whether that's on them or that's on us, I don't know. Either way, it's not there. But it'll cost $2.3 million to give them a 1% supplement increase. And we can take that one time from the capital investment fund or capital improvement fund. We don't want to make a habit out of it, but we can take it from there and we can give them their 1%, and it won't affect the tax rate this year. So I would like to see us do that so that the teachers can have a 1% increase. Mecklenburg County just announced theirs is at 19%, and as close as we are to Mecklenburg County, they'll go right down the road and make a considerable amount more. So that's what I have to say.
Any comments from you, Commissioner Jones?
Sure.
Drinking through a fire hose, ain't it?
Yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, all I want to say is we're going to work through this budget. I need everybody on this board to come with an open mind. Don't be drawing lines in the sand before we get to talk. Better be willing to compromise on your position if we have to. We'll come together, the 5 of us. We'll do what's right for Cabarrus County. Fortunately, I'm in a position, if y'all are going to remain split 2 and 2, I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to do what's right for Cabarrus County and what I feel is right. So come with an open mind and be willing to compromise, and we can get something all 5 of us can agree on.
Thank you for your comments. And Commissioner Shue, any comments?
I've listened to everybody say what they had to say about the budget, and Lord knows I've been through a lot of these over the years. And it's a difficult task for commissioners to set a $400 million budget and try to meet the needs of the departments and the citizens. And Mr. Wortman, I appreciate you digging into it like that, because it shows that you've done your homework, and I appreciate that. One of the things that concerns me, about the proposed budget, and I haven't had a chance, we just got it tonight, so I haven't had a chance to go through it, but the teacher supplements is very important to me. When I got on the board in 2014, I think the supplement was about 7%. And every year since then, we've moved it up to where it's 13%. And that's a big deal. It may not seem like a lot, and of course $2 million is a lot too. That's about a half of a penny on the tax rate. But the teachers depend on them, and that's what makes us stay a little bit competitive. We can never, ever compete against Mecklenburg County. We don't have skyscrapers and big buildings and that kind of thing to increase our revenue. But, we need to try to always continue to support our teachers and those certified staff and help them. And then, of course, the county paid employees. We pay, most of you don't know, but I don't know how many it is now, Sean, you probably know, but we pay probably at least 400, maybe I know Kelly will know, 400 or 450 employees for the school system that, that's not mandated by the state. We do it, pick up the slack on the employees, and that's a number of millions of dollars, and so we pick that up every year too, and that we don't have to. But it's all to make the school system better so we can get, hopefully, our kids a better education and move on to a higher education. But education is very important to me in this budget, so I'll be looking at that part pretty careful. And I've been fussing for years and years and years since I've been on the board about operational costs of the schools. The operational cost just keeps going up. But you got to look at it, we're building schools. And when you build schools, you got to take care of them. And Kenny, you mentioned kicking the can down the road. That's what's happened a lot of times. The former board tried to slow kicking the can down some and took care of the things that had been neglected for years and years and years. And there was a time that we didn't build schools. We didn't have no schools built for a very, very long time. And then when Commissioner Poole was the chairman, she put a moratorium on building schools. And so we got further and further behind. And so if you put these things off, kicking the can down the road, then what happens is it just builds up. And I don't know what the deficit is now for capital maintenance for the schools, but it's a tremendous amount of money. And we just chip at it, just a little chip along. But while we're doing that, we're all getting older, the buildings are getting older, and the deficit's getting deeper. But anyway, I'm looking forward to looking through it and seeing what all we've done and see if we can make it happen. But Commissioner Pittman, it's not easy to cut the tax rate, you mentioned 2 cents. Well, that's just a little over $8.5 million. It's hard to find $8 million. It's hard to find what we're trying to find to get the tax rate where it is. But we all, like you said, Commissioner Jones, we need to all try to work together and compromise, and more importantly, work together. We've got to work together. I've never, since I've been on the board, seen a more divisive board than we have now. And we've got to get away from that. We've got to reach down and pull our bootstraps up and accept each other for who we are and try to compromise as best we can. And I don't know it all, don't claim to know it all. But I do know I want to do my best as long as I can. And I hope that we can all work together. And I thank you, Sean, for the budget presentation, and I'll be looking forward to going through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shue. Okay. Without any other comments, we will move on to reports. For Commissioner Jones, just for your information, we do have other duties that we have to serve out besides working just 2 Mondays a month here.
Skip that part.
Doing these meetings. And so we will be discussing boards and commissions that you would also be interested in. Okay. Commissioner Pittman, if you want to start with yours.
All right, Madam Chairman, I apologize again for not having had the report ready last time because I had it ready by 11 at home. So, going to go through what I have here right quick. Met with the Cabarrus Rowan MPO TAC on March 26th. They talked about projects have been delayed due to factors such as right-of-way and funding issues. For example, widening of Highway 73, 85 Papa Tent Road have been put off. They were expecting to have done that about this time, and they've been put off to about 2045, some to 2055, some to 2035. There are 7 routes that have been delayed out to 2035 to 2050. The 1 cent sales tax increase in Cabarrus County has been delayed, they said, to 2030, and so that's putting them off. North Carolina DOT divisions taking public comment through April 4th. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't remind you of that till now, but they have a map and an Excel thing on the website if anybody wants to look at what's going on with those things. Transportation Advisory Board met on April 2nd, and some of the things they did, they voted to change their frequency of meetings to 4 regular meetings, August, November, February, and May, and plus call meetings as needed. They said that our transportation system in the county that like carries people to hospitals and stuff like that, and doctor's appointments and all that. Since last year, they've done 4,440 trips since last February. There are 3 vacant driver positions. They had interviewed 2, and they would have 1 offer, and I don't know since that meeting what's happened with that yet. Annual training session for drivers is coming soon, they said, and they're resuming supervised ride with new drivers. They had not been doing that for a while. They're going to do that again, emphasizing safety standards. The new hire, they said, would bring them up to 19 drivers. Year to date, as of that meeting in March, have 1.7 trips per hour, amounting to thousands of trips, spent $66,000. The 5310 enhanced transportations for seniors are needed, or there are 5,310 needed. All buses are hybrid since 2013, which they say saves fuel. Complications of FTA funding. They're trying to get more planning input from other municipalities over the coming year using focus groups, interviews, public input, elected officials for feedback.
and next meeting will be June 4th. Cabarrus County Fire and Rescue Service Board meeting April 10th was at Coldwater Fire Department, and Jason Burnett was conducting a meeting in the absence of the chief. Red Cross met with us and said they seek to arrive on the scene of a disaster within 48 hours. They send 2 responders within 2 hours. They offer money, cards, or send online help according to how many are in a household. $350 for a hotel stay, replace lost medicines, glasses, etc. They verify residence of a victim, even a car or rental property. They will treat it as their home. The whole state is one region. Burial assistance for fatalities is available, and they need to be let know if there is a working house fire. They work with tornadoes, etc. There's no immediate money due to having to figure out the need, but they will help shelter a number of victims. Colonial Pipeline also met with us that night, which is a gasoline pipeline. So they work with first responders to develop response capabilities for bad events like spills or leaks. They also work with the fire departments and the Red Cross, post office and, police department. That looked like an O, but it was a D. Police department and sheriff's office, et cetera. David Gandy talked about the bylaws. Each department will have only 1 vote on the county bylaws, down from 3 that they used to have, adding Concord High School Training Group to be a voting group. The new initiative, Service After the Save, is giving out gas cards, food cards, clothing, etc., to burn victims wherever they are, whenever they are hospitalized or sheltered. The computer automated dispatch, they talked about that. There are ongoing talks with ITS. Motorola makes implementation difficult. They're working on that with the sheriff's office. Rules and procedures update. They plan to resume talks in the next few days after that previous meeting, having had difficulty getting together, but Rescue Task Force was waiting on an update from Rowan County and Midland as they try to talk with others. For new business, they said the second dispatch procedures needed to be discussed. They could not make much of this because someone's radio was going off, but they were talking about how to deal with, okay, you get there on the scene, you have to let people know if you need more and how they work on getting that taken care of. Next meeting was April 12th. April 17th, I attended an event at Cabarrus Arena about preserving working lands, protecting agricultural land from further loss, and I'm all about that. North Carolina is second only to Texas, and I didn't realize this. We're second only to Texas in the loss of agricultural land to other uses. North Carolina lost 732,000 acres from 2001 through 2016, mostly around Charlotte, Raleigh, and Greensboro. They anticipate another 1.2 million acres to be lost by 2040. A projected loss of 9,000 farms and 19,000 jobs for farm workers. They discussed creating easements and working land trusts to prevent this getting worse. Also, they discussed creating voluntary agricultural districts and other ideas. And I'll just say as a side note on that, if I had the money, I would buy up all the land that I see for sale, make sure it never gets developed. May 7th, local energy emergency planning meeting. Norfolk Southern representative discussed their approach to rail emergencies. They cover 22 eastern states, 6 to 7 million carloads per year through our area. No fire department of their own, so they give training and information to fire departments. 455,637 total shipments per year of hazmat travel on Norfolk Southern. They're required to transport any freight properly, but in process, or put in process for transport. They can exceed 10,000 feet of a train being that long, over 10,000 feet, and 14,000 tons. 90% or fewer accidents or they have 90% fewer accidents than highways. The danger zone is 4 feet either side of the track, and either side of the track people should allow 25 feet if you're going to park near the track. And they show video of things that have been parked within the safety zone getting torn up. Something on a train may tear back and be hanging out and tear your car all to pieces. Or if the load is too wide, sometimes, it'll hit people's vehicles and that sort of thing. So it says, stopping a train may take 1 to 2 miles in an emergency situation. It said, do not get on or under the train without approval. And they had a number to be able to notify the railroad. If anybody wants that, I can give it to you. And give your location at the crossing. The ID number on each side of it appears on each side of the locomotive. Cole Whitehurst presented the Hazardous Materials Incident Response Plan for review and adoption, and discussed the Local Emergency Planning Committee improvement plan. The status of that: they intend to keep local control as far as possible. Response plan was adopted. Cole stated that there was a need for better representation from related groups such as the schools. He discussed security cameras usage and encouraged usage of security cameras, and gave updates about various entities represented. The Cabarrus County Home and Community Block Grant Advisory Committee met today at 3:30. They normally meet at 2:30, and they're going to get back to that. Next meeting will be August if needed. They don't always meet. It depends on whether they need to. They talked about Older Americans Month, a focus on caregivers called Flipping the Script. They gave care to people for all these years, and now they're needing care, which I thought was a very good way to put that. They're trying to raise awareness of the needs for caregiving, and there's a website, www.acl.gov, that you can look into these things. They gave program reviews. There was this chart that I won't go through, but I can show it to you if you want to see it, about fiscal year funding and the plan status for that. Next meeting will be Friday, June 13th. Talking about elder abuse awareness event at Senior Center. They're going to have that on that date, June 13th, from 9 a.m. to 11 or so, and there will be a breakfast provided. But they do want to put a real emphasis out there that we need to take care of these old folks who can't take care of themselves anymore. And I shared just a brief thing with them that when I was working at Snyder Packaging, loading and unloading trucks, there was a truck driver from Dixie Trucking Company that I got to be friends with, a guy named Ernie. And he had to quit work and stay home and take care of his wife who had multiple sclerosis. And he said he could not have made it without the caretaker, care provider help that he gets from organizations like this. So there's a lot of that kind of need, and we need to be aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you for your thorough report, Commissioner Pittman. We appreciate it. Commissioner Wortman?
Active Living in Parks was canceled this month, but they did send some numbers. These are the 2023 numbers. I don't have 2024 yet. But their social media reach was 394,371. They danced to 1,300 songs at Active Living Centers. And they offered 2,905 programs. That is up 1,560% higher than the national average of 175. We had 18,918 participants in park programs. Active Living Center programs was 40,248. Volunteers, the estimated value of hours was $156,401. We served, by Active Living in Parks, we served 1,078,077 people. Those were the total visitors at all parks and senior centers. And the grant funding that was awarded was $641,410. So obviously people are using the parks. The library board, we met there. They hired a few new people last week. They had a few new start this week. The window replacement and exterior touch-up is done in Concord. Mount Pleasant apparently had a mouse problem. I think they're mice-free now. And Afton is working through a couple of the new building issues that we have anytime we open one up. The Mount Pleasant Friends of the Library Mount Pleasant Literacy Festival had approximately 650 people that showed up. And to give you the numbers between February and then after Afton opened up, February they had 24,143 branch visits. In April they had 42,013. They had 192 programs offered in February, and in April they had 222. And the number of books that were checked out, you hear all the time about people don't use libraries. In February, there was 59,493 books checked out. And in April, there is 77,007. They also have 1,453 new users, so it is absolutely being used. There's a lot of people that are excited about that. I did find out that Afton has a sensory story time for autism, so kids that have autism. Afton has a sensory story time, and they also have audio services for people that have dyslexia. So those were two things that I didn't know that they offered, that they do. The Central Regional Workforce Development, we met in Kannapolis, and also understanding that I did not know the private sector is losing people as well, as fast as local government, they're losing people to companies down the road. People are jumping ship for a couple more dollars an hour, so they're in the same boat that we are with personnel. So they're trying to come up with plans for that. Central Lina Regional in Charlotte, we voted on different collaboratives that they look forward to addressing, and with some different House bills. And then I do have one more, but I'll share it for general comments on one of our employees who is actually here. But I'll wait until general comments to do that. So.
Thank you for your reports. Did you have any reports, Commissioner Shue?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I do have a couple of reports as well. So on April the 25th, I believe it was, I did attend the Soil and Water award ceremony that was hosted by Soil and Water at the Frank Lisk Barn. All of the kids that won presented their speeches on the topics of wetlands are wonderful. And I have to say that there were 3,000 applicants from the school system, if I remember correctly. And the winners absolutely astounded me with their ability to speak in public at such a young age. So I think those folks will be county commissioners before we know it. Also, the Soil and Water is having on June the 18th, you can build your own terrarium at Cooperative Extension, the building from 5:30 to 6:30. And I also want to remind everyone that they do have the first annual Creek Week that will be coming up for Cabarrus County, September 22nd through the 28th. I did go over a few months ago the list of events that they're going to be planning for that, and I do encourage you to go online and take a look at that as well. On April the 23rd, I was able to attend the pinwheel ceremony that was held outside here, downtown Concord. If you have not attended that before, I highly recommend it. It is put on by Ashley Shanley, our DA, to encourage all of those who are in our child services and protection agencies to make sure that we are doing our best to make sure that all of the children in Cabarrus County are protected. And then I also am going to ask Wesley Honeycutt if he will come up, please. We did have a Commission on Financial Efficiency meeting, and I did want him to present that information to the board as well.
Thanks, Laura. So we did meet a couple weeks back, and just as a reminder, I'm going to read off some of my notes here. The Cabarrus County Committee on Financial Efficiency, that includes Commissioner Laura Lindsay, County Manager Sean Newton, Lee Schumann, who I think had an event for his daughter tonight and was unable to be here, and then myself, I'm Wes Honeycutt. The whole purpose of this committee is we're dedicated to identifying and supporting strategies that improve the effectiveness, transparency, and fiscal responsibility of county government. The initial meetings have focused on policy and process-driven discussions. We've got a shared belief that the sustainable change begins with thoughtful structures and systems. We agree that a more efficient, transparent, and engaging government leads to comprehensive and effective solutions. These improvements enhance services and also result to cost savings for taxpayers. And it's just made possible by a stronger public understanding of and involvement in the government's work. So one of the core things that we're pushing with this is government accountability, and it's not because we don't think the government is doing their jobs. It's because ultimately every dollar that funds comes from taxpayers. And as we said, it's a partnership. I feel like there's probably some sentiment that in doing this that we're somehow anti-county employee. Every county employee that I've worked with, I mean, I think you guys are great. I've told Kelly, I think David Thrift's still back there. Jonathan responding to my emails on the weekends, like, county employees are great. Like, we really do just want a good partnership, and we want people to be heard. Laura, we're going to publish these notes as well, right? Okay. So I just want to make sure, I don't want to lose everyone in reading off all the notes because we do have a good bit here. One of the biggest things that we discussed was encouraging, peer-to-peer knowledge sharing. There's a lot that goes on in the county, and I've had this discussion with many people. I know that I don't know everything that goes on. Commissioner Wortman, you and I talked about that. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes. It's impossible for one person to really take all that in. But to share that knowledge is super helpful. I'm going to give you an example. After the reval, there's a lot of anger. There's still a lot of anger with that. But I can't tell you how many comments that I fielded on social media where someone talked about how awful the tax assessor's office was and how they can't get a hold of anybody and yada, yada. And that's never been my experience. I've always gotten an email back from David Thrift and I said, hey, this is the guy that you need to reach out to, David Thrift. And literally within hours most of the time, that person comes back and says, I reached out to David, he took care of me and I got what I needed. Okay, that doesn't happen without peer-to-peer involvement and knowledge sharing in that, because even though we try to make it convenient, we try to make the website easy to follow and whatnot, it's still hard to find information at times. People don't know exactly what to search for. So that's a big thing with that partnership aspect as well. We talked about closing the feedback loop as well. I mentioned this during my public comments. A lot of times folks in the community feel like their only opportunity to have a voice is to come up here and speak during public comments. And often what happens is they say their comments, they may feel like they're the recipient of blank stares back and there's no follow-up. Now, that's not to say that no one gets followed up with. I've been followed up with on my comments before. I think that it's your first meeting, Commissioner Jones, so we don't know about you yet, but I think most of you try to follow up, and I'm sure that you're going to do the same. I've seen you engaged already online with folks. And but just given the opportunity for folks to feel heard and to be involved in the things that are going on in the community. Lastly, the biggest thing, because I think this is a misconception, we want to support the frontline staff. You all, the employees, like you're the view into the county that most people have. There are some services in the county that I've never used and will never have to use. There are some that I've used that some of you will never have to use, right? But there is a frontline employee there that's the intake for whatever experience someone has. So we want to support the frontline employees. We want to make sure that we align the county operations with these principles of working together to foster a more engaged community and more fiscally sound government. Just by being involved collectively, learning continuously, sharing accountability, our goal is to ensure that Cabarrus County consistently meets the expectations of its most important stakeholders, its residents. And I think setting clear priorities for spending is critically important to ensure efficiency in the fiscal management of county funds. So the goal is ultimately to maximize tax dollars, right? That's what we want to do. We want to be good stewards of that money, and asking questions is not a violation of that stewardship. I know that there's been discussion about county benefits, and this is not in my notes, but I'm going to say it because I've got the podium right now. And no one on that committee has any desire to cut off county benefits. Okay, I think the county employees are great. I think they need great benefits. I think asking the question allows us to be a good steward. If you've never looked into this, because my company's actually done this multiple times, and I don't know if we did this or not, by switching providers, you can have the same benefits sometimes and save 5 to 15%. Where you're talking about what it costs what a penny if the rate means to the budget. Well, 15% of $20 million is $3 million. I'm not saying that we could do that, but asking the question is okay. So if we can come together collectively and not think that we're just at war with one another, I think that we can accomplish a whole lot through that. Now, the thing that I tell my kids is that if you go looking for a problem, you're always going to find one. If you want something to be mad about, you can absolutely find it. Mine are really good at inventing problems if they don't have a real one. So my goal is that we all come together. That's the goal of the committee. We're really in the early stages, I think, learning each other, learning what our goals are, establishing framework. But I look forward to working with the county employees more, with the staff more, involving more of the community in that. Send me your ideas. This is a shameless plug. Multiple of you have messaged us ideas of things to look into. And recognize that there are going to be many areas that you ask something about, and the answer is the county is doing a great job with that. Everything can't be cut, right? So just have an open mind. I think someone said that. I think you said that earlier. Have an open mind, but we really are just wanting to do what's best collectively for all residents of Cabarrus County. And I will stop my filibuster at this point.
Thank you, Wes. And I did hear the question, when is the next meeting? That's an excellent question, and I will make sure that as soon as we decide that, we will post it on the website, and Lauren will get that out there for you. And so we will move on the agenda now to general comments from board members. And Commissioner Pittman, did you have any general comments you needed to add as well?
Just briefly, believe it or not. Well, Mr. Shue, before the meeting, said something about if I would not talk so long. And I asked him, well, you want me to start singing instead if I get too long? But anyway, some questions been raised that I want to kind of address. Talking about lowering taxes but increasing supplements. That may or may not make sense. You may not be able to do both. I got elected to lower taxes. I'm going to try to do that. So that's what I'm about. Insurance and other benefits, I'm not about cutting anybody else's benefits. What I have said to the manager is that you don't give me those. I will not take health care or life insurance or any of that kind of stuff with this job. The base salary is plenty. And I've also said to him that if county commissioners get a raise, do not give it to me. I'm making enough. I don't need any more money than what I'm getting from the county now, and I don't need any other benefits but that base salary. So that's not a lot because it's just one person, but I'm at least trying to cut your budget by what you pay me. You don't have to spend all that extra money on me. It's not needed. Maybe other people need it, so I don't want to cut it from them, but I don't need it. You don't need to do that for me. Also, as I said earlier, just simply, I'm pushing for lower property taxes because you elected me to do that. I just can't do it alone.
Thank you, Commissioner Pittman. Commissioner Wortman?
I also don't take the county insurance, so that's out there as well. But if I could have Byron Hagler to the podium. Sorry, I know you don't like the spotlight. But, this is important and something you should be proud of, and I'm going to read it. Byron took an exam on March 14th, and I just got the certificate last week. It was the exam for the Certified Park and Recreation Executive designation. And the Certified Park and Recreation Executive designation is the highest level of professional certification offered by the National Recreation and Park Association. This prestigious credential is reserved for top-tier leaders in the field who have demonstrated advanced knowledge, skills, and experience in all aspects of parks and recreation management. Achieving CPRE certification requires passing a rigorous national exam that covers a wide range of subjects, including finance, human resources, operations, and strategic planning. Preparing for the exam involves months of dedicated study and a deep commitment to professional excellence. This accomplishment is especially significant as there are currently only about 50 CPRE certified professionals in the entire state of North Carolina and just 600 across the United States. Earning this designation places the recipient among the elite in the profession. Byron has also been invited to lead a statewide study and preparation initiative for this certification through the North Carolina Recreation and Park Association, helping to inspire and support other professionals in the field as they pursue this high-level certification, strengthening the quality and leadership of parks and recreation services across the state. So I think that is massive. He is one of 50 in the state and 600 across the U.S., and I wanted to say thank you from me and just good job. If there's anything you wanted to add about the certification, I know you spent probably hundreds of hours studying, so I just wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted to say anything.
I greatly appreciate that, and thank you, commissioners and management. Thank you to wife and kids as well to deal with me not being present for that time and that study, but it would not be possible without the travel and education funding that you all have approved and allowed for us to continue that and allow us to be better and to serve in the fashions that we do. So thank you so much.
Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you. And good move thanking the wife and kids, by the way. I'm sure they'll appreciate that when you come home.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones, did you have any general comments that you would like to make before this meeting is called into closed session?
First, I want to hear about this pay, because nobody told me about getting paid doing this. No, they did. I just wanted to say to everybody, I know I'm not elected. Y'all didn't choose me up here. I was chosen by Bill Baggs. And the only reason I'm up here is because we have gotten nowhere over the last several months without it being a division up here. And I plan to do my best to get these 4 people to agree on something. I hope my vote doesn't even matter, because I hope we can come to compromise and agreement on everything that we can, where 4 of you voted through and I'm just a bystander. That's all.
Commissioner Shue?
I don't have any.
Okay. I do have, so I did want to thank Julie from the animal shelter. She did bring June out to visit with us this evening, and I certainly appreciate that. And then this is my animal shelter video for this month.
Hey everybody, this is Laura Lindsay, your County Commissioner, and we're back once again at the Cabarrus County Animal Shelter to shine a light on some 4-legged friends that could end up in your family. Let's go meet a couple of them now. Come on in. Come here, girl. Hi. This is April. She's a 6-month-old puppy that came into the shelter, unfortunately from a cruelty situation, but with your love and affection, you can change her life. This is Bloom. She's a 1-year-old diluted calico. She is a very talkative, sweet girl and is clearly looking for someone else to talk to. These animals are full of love and ready to share it with someone. And that someone could be you. You can make a difference in their lives, and they will certainly make a difference in yours.
So I definitely want to thank the folks at the animal shelter once again for allowing me to come out and highlight some of those babies. And I am sad to report for all of you who wanted to go and adopt April at the animal shelter, she was adopted today, thankfully. I also think it's important to highlight that every single animal that we have highlighted since we began doing this in December has been adopted or rescued. So I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this video for you monthly. And it does look like we have a need for a closed session. So I would need a motion to go into closed session per NCGS 143-318.11A, 3, and 4.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much for coming this evening, and we are in closed session.